Good morning, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Monday Merriment. Today is October 21st. The moon phase is waning, and the moon sign is in Gemini, which during the waning moon, it's a good time to banish problems that you have in your social connections. And it's also a good time to release any obstacles that you're dealing with in your business. So, I don't really get around to making a whole lot of videos. I did make two videos like last week, but I didn't upload them. I keep thinking, maybe I just need to just like kind of chisel down my video making time to just like, Monday merriment. And I do want to do other videos, had thought about some collaborative projects with Food Magic, but that's so into the future. Right now, I'm just doing a lot of focusing on what I want to get rid of. And I know that in the next week, I'm going to be going to the dump and getting rid of a lot of stuff that I don't need anymore because, I feel like I want to make more space. Something in me is saying, Maria, make more space, clean up your place, get things organized. And, because I really do want to find more of a social life. I feel like I want to go out and meet people and hopefully, have someone to come out and hang out with me sometimes every once in a while. It'd be really nice. I know I'm not referring to like romantic relationships, but it would be kind of cool, just to have like a friend to hang out with. But if that doesn't happen, whatever. But, it's like I'm always open to that because there's times where I just want to talk or do something girly, like get my nails done, or, talk about clothes, or, break out some tarot cards, or, just something. So I'm hoping to do that in the future. And so I feel as though whenever you want to make those sort of changes in your life, you have to change your environment that's around you first so that the energies will shift to accommodate those desires, right? So anyway, the reason why I'm showing you this shopping cart is because, I know when my car got repossessed, I kind of relied on this cart, right? And I'm very grateful to my son's friend who donated their vehicle to me. I do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I can't tell you how much that means to me. But there are those days where, I'm feeling it. Like I just want to be outside talking to myself. So this little buggy is my best friend. Now, this is not my actual grocery cart. This is one that image that I took off of just the internet. I didn't feel like going downstairs, grabbing mine out of like the closet or the tight little spot that it's crammed in, and then taking a picture of mine. But, you get the idea. Now, I just recently replaced my little buggy cart because I was using it so much. I actually purchased my first buggy, and I've always wanted to own one. Isn't that silly? Geeky and I don't know, whatever. But I've always wanted one because I remember seeing a lot of old ladies when I was growing up, rolling them around. And I kept thinking that's actually a good idea because, I would sometimes have to run errands for my mom. And I'm thinking I'd have to carry all this stuff home. So I thought they were a great and nifty little idea. So I purchased my first one back in, I think it was like 2016. And this was when, I was like being targeted, but I really didn't need it. Okay. It was more something that, oh, I was wanted one. And it's kind of nice because I always walk and stuff, and I figure if I come home, I can use it. But like in the after my car got repossessed, that was like, I don't know, a while ago, a few months ago, right? I started like using mine so much that the bottom started falling out of it. Okay. And I think originally I paid for my cart like $10, brand new when I first got it. But I was using it so much it just wore out. So I met this lady at Walmart. She was telling me that she was going to sell hers. And it was kind of a blessing because, you know that you want to go out and buy something else. But at the time, I wasn't working. So this is like just like a few weeks before I started my new job. And so I was really grateful to purchase another one used, but it's new to me and it was for $15. And yes, now that the autumn is in full swing, meaning like I'm starting to notice a change in the morning air. Like today, it was a little chilly and it was nice, right? So I'm looking forward to where it really starts getting brisk to go outside. And yes, even though I got a little vehicle and I'm very grateful for it, I still enjoy my walking outside. And right now, the trees are turning. Now, I was telling people about how last week I talked about, this, it was like a Bakersfield exclusive episode, okay? But, here in Bakersfield, like if you go down Gosford, the trees have not started turning yet, okay? They're starting to get there, like, when they start getting like really golden and they really have that vibrating color. I'm looking forward to that, okay? But I also like being out and walking around it and going out and getting my groceries that way. It gives me an old-fashioned feel, and I realize how connected I am to CB Berganza in his old ways because I choose to, in some way, whether I realized it or not, it's just not me being old-fashioned. It is a part of who I am. I enjoy those old things, old-fashioned things, because I'm CB Berganza here today, and I love that. Okay, it's tragic. Okay, but we always have to find something good in even the worst situations. And I love like my interest in vintage things and music and odd things. Like, I enjoy walking. I really do. I enjoy going out, walking, enjoying the environment, looking at people's, some of the people here in town, like they're the people who own houses, they take care of them very well. And I look at their gardens and the little things that they put out, and I find it just, very satisfying, and it clears your mind. Okay, so going back to my old lady buggy, I think they're cool. And I just recently passed a lady as I was walking home from my groceries, and she had a red one, and I kept thinking how cool it is to have them in different colors. Right now, I have my Hello Kitty keychain dangling off of my buggy cart. I call it my buggy cart. My Hello Kitty keychain, but dangling off my buggy cart, and I kept thinking, it'd be kind of cool to make some charms for like your people who have like buggies. And yeah, it is kind of an old lady thing, but I think being an old lady is kind of cool, okay? Because you've done things, you have experience in life, and you can just bring it all out in the forefront and enjoy all those things that you remember and bring it up into the modern age, right? And this is what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm very proud of my buggy car. I was thinking about like flying an American flag. I figured, what? Okay, so you got my car, okay? But, at the end of the day, I'm feeling great because I got my buggy and it's autumn time. So I'm going to go on to the next subject. Now, because I'm doing like this cleansing thing of my house and getting rid of things, I started doing a lot of thinking about it. Just, yeah, in my brain, like one subject matter leads to another subject matter, and I can just like go on and on about this stuff. But I kept thinking, I do not know where my family um, coat of arms are. Like, I remember my dad came home one day and he unwrapped this package, and he brought in like these coat of arms, one for the Gordon family and then one for my mom's maiden name. Now, I think most people understand that if you're of African American descent, even though I know when you're a clone, your DNA stuff is like all scattered, okay, anyway. But we're talking about me being adopted into the Gordon family, okay? So let me explain something. Okay, my father, James Gordon, right? His father, which now that I understand that my dad was a clone, let's call him my stepfather, my step grandfather, okay? My step grandfather, Gordon, was a black man, right? Obviously. And so, in black people in this country took their names or got their names from the slave owners that owned them. So if he was owned by a white slave owner, he would have taken his last name. They would give him the last name. So that was the Gordon name. So my dad, we all knew this. We all knew that we really weren't Gordons. It was more like a name that was given to us, and we just accepted it. Okay, fine. And so a lot of people here in this country, not just black people, but people in general who might have that name or any other name for that matter, because the use of family crests are actually very, very common. People may not think of them as like a part or like a huge part of them, but a lot of people have them on display in their home, right? So we all fully understood that we were not of this like European line where we really were the Gordon clan, but we still had it because that was the name that we adapted, right? Okay, so I don't remember what I did with those. They were actually made into like commemorative type plates that you could hang on your wall or display like in a bookcase or something. Okay, and I remember I was the one who got those many years ago. No one else seemed to be interested in them. So I took them and I had them for a while. Okay, and I put them in a box. I have no idea where they are. But I kept thinking, if I do stumble upon those items, okay, chances are they're probably going to go to the dump. Okay, and it has nothing to do with me not being really proud of having the name, because I think the name Gordon is actually really cool. And before I knew about CB Berganza, I remember thinking, oh, it's really cool. So I would look up things about the Gordon, the Gordon clan and stuff like that. And chances are, when it comes to things like royalty or people who are entitled to use things like the coat of arms, it probably had no connection to me whatsoever. But what I did like about the Gordons was is that I love, like, the Scottish tartan plaid designs. Okay, the Gordon plaid is like a green and a black, green and a blue together. And for many years, I looked for that plaid because I thought I really didn't really have like a real connection to it. But since it's plaid and it was autumn anyway, and then my last name was adapted Gordon, I felt like, dude, this is really cool for me. So I enjoyed those things. Okay. And when it comes to the uh, the crest, I just want to give you a little bit of information about like family crest and like coat of arms. And I am not an expert on the subject matter, okay? But I do know that those things are usually made by people who are very important in Europe, okay? People who have earned the right to have those coat of arms. So a lot of times, you purchase, just like my dad came home with those like little coat of arms, from a retailer store. I know nowadays you can actually get them made online or whatever. Okay, but I don't believe that, maybe, who's to say? I mean, because a white slave owner owned my what do you call it? I guess my step grandfather's family. I'm assuming he must have had some money, but he possibly, I don't know if he was royalty or not, or anything like really associated with being something important. I don't know. But anyway, I was interested in, talking about it in one of my videos that I was going to make for the Swan Song Manifesto. I wanted to talk about, people who have like a family type motto, a family type image, a family type representation. Like, so I was thinking about making a video on discussing, making like a plaque or something that's really powerful for your family, what you guys stand for, right? As an example, right? And so I kept thinking this would be loosely based off of how a coat of arms is, okay? But the coat of arms is really not a magical protective symbol. At least I don't think it is. But chances are it possibly could be used if they chose to enchant one, okay? But anyway, so I wanted to kind of dissect the idea of a family crest because I don't know. I think they're kind of cool. It's just it's sad and unfortunate, but now I've come to realize I'm really not that connected to being a Gordon. Okay, I'm grateful for it, but that's not really my name. Okay, but I am still interested in what makes up a coat of arms. So I did some research on the subject a little bit more, and okay, one thing there's four things that are very that identify like a coat of arms and what they generally have. Okay, one is like a motto. They have a motto, and that's usually a statement that represents the family and group. And that was part of my idea of the Swan Song Manifesto video that I wanted to do. Is like, some people are really good with wood burning. Some people do engraving, that kind of stuff. So if you have the ability or skill to do that, that's really cool to do. Also, in one of my videos, I talked about, I think cranberry juice is like a very protective type juice, and it's a good thing to use like in ritual. You can get your family coat of arms like printed on drinking glasses. Okay. And I kept thinking if you were to do like a family ritual, or like a one every once in a while of like a protective type thing, it'd be kind of cool to drink out of your family crest, right? But anyway, going back to the four things that a coat of arms generally has is number one, a motto. So we're looking at the coat of arms right here. This right here is taken from the Gordon clan, okay, of Scotland. Okay, and I'm trying to remember exactly what the coat of arms looked like that my dad had. It looked different. I don't recall it looking the same, so obviously I don't think it was the same type family, but I want to kind of dissect this. Okay, so the motto on top of this this, I believe it looks like a deer. Okay, it looks like, I'm going to call it a deer. Okay, right now. Okay, it says by Dan. Okay, and so I did some research and I found out what that meant. And the motto means abiding. Okay, so if you have a family crest and you look at it, this is what it usually has a motto on it. And some of you guys might have, if you're really from like a European type ancestry, some of the words may not be familiar to you because they might be written in a language that you don't recognize, like Gaelic or something. Okay, so anyway, so then that's one part of the crest. Okay, the next part is the actual crest. Okay, and it's usually located under the motto, and it's usually a symbol that displays either an achievement of the owner or like basically what they represent. Now, for this one is the clan of Gordon, not mine, but whatever. It looks like I'm going to say it's a deer. Okay, and so I believe the reason why they have different animals, and the animals are different, I've noticed. Okay, like I remember my mom's crest had a boar's head on it. I do not remember what my dad's was. Okay, I don't. It could have been a deer. Okay, it could have been very similar to this one. But I will say that coat of arms are similar in the fact that they generally have the same type of things on them. Okay, different animals and stuff, but they still have animals. Okay, so I'm talking about like, the four things that are most common on it. Now, how they see a deer and how they represent the deer and their definition of it, I'm assuming is very similar. Okay, because like, I had created a book called Spirit Creatures and also created a pamphlet that went along with it. And I associate the deer with magical powers, hidden secrets, and the ability to communicate. So when it comes to coat of arms, crest, or whatever, generally the animal on there is either an animal that is real, one that is mythical, or it's a hybrid type animal, which I find fascinating. Okay, so then in this case, we have the deer, and I'm just going to associate the deer with those sort of like powers because I'm using my own definition mainly because they don't provide one, why they put it on there. And I'm pretty sure that it's very similar because most of the uh, explanations for the animals, plants, and stuff like that I come up with are pretty much common around the world. So let's just take it from that. Okay, so looking at the other issue that they have is the shield. Okay, there's usually like a shield on the crest. I mean, yeah, on the crest. Okay, and there was usually the arms were painted on these shields, and it's a basic part of the coat of arms, and it's a representation of the actual arms, like the actual shield that was most likely used in battle. Okay, so the reason why not everybody has the right to use a coat of arms legally or that is recognized by the official, I guess, agency, oh, I wouldn't even call it an agency, authority that grants them in I believe it's let me see who grants these things, okay? Because there are official ones and they're the ones that my dad brought home. Okay, the one that my dad brought. Okay, I think it's called the College of Arms in the United Kingdom. Okay, so it's the United Kingdom that actually gives these people or gives the stamp of approval as to what is a legitimate coat of arms and what is not. Okay. Anyway, but that's usually what it has. It usually has a shield. Now, on this particular one that I'm looking at for the Gordons, I see it looks like there's boars on there. It looks like the top heads, they could be griffins. I don't know. And they look like there's some crescent moons, and they look like there's like 5-petal flowers, 3 5-petal flowers. Okay, what else is on these things? Okay, so and the last thing that is on a coat of arms is usually like little supporters, and there's usually 2 on the side. In this case, for the Gordons, it looks like there's 2 white dogs. Now, most people associate dogs with a protective, being protective, and a symbol of loyalty and honor. I also wanted to add, it looks like the motto on this particular crest is continued on the bottom. It says, Amina, I can't pronounce these words, okay, because it's not a language I speak, okay? It's just from Scotland, and I don't know, like early Scotland, obviously. But anyway, Amino non Ascursia, I think that's how you pronounce it. I could very well be wrong. No, it's Astutia. See, the way they have those little letters written, I thought they were actually different letters. But anyway, Amino non Astutia, and it means by courage, not by craft. Now, as you know, C.B. Berganza, obviously that was not his name. C.B. Berganza was actually Prince Alamehu, but he, like Maria Gordon, adapted the name of Gordon. Prince Alamehu adapted the name of Calvin Berganza, right? So obviously this is not his crest, okay? But it did belong to the House of Berganza after 1640. Now, I'm looking at this particular crest, and I don't see a motto on there. That doesn't mean that they probably didn't receive one or get one at some other time, but there is none. Let's see. I'm looking at the crest. On the top of their crest, they have, it looks like it's just a cross. And, well, it's got a crown and a cross, okay? So that obviously tells me that they were very connected to religious devotion. And see, what else do they have here on their crest? It looks like they have their shield. Let's take a look at their shield. It's got like 5 little pointed dots. Kind of looks like dominoes, but I don't know exactly what they mean or what they symbolize. But I see an X on their little shield, and then we have these little dots on here. I don't know what their semblance of it would be. It looks protective to me, but I don't know exactly what the 5 dots represent. But I do see on the side for their supporters, their helpers, it looks as though these are dragons. Okay, they look like dragons to me. And at first I kept thinking that looked like seahorses, right? But dragons have very different shapes in different cultures. You know, dragons look different. Like, for example, in Asia, they're different. They're drawn different. And then when you see them, like in Europe, they're still dragons, but they're different kinds of dragons. So I'm going to look at these as dragons. And dragons, to me, are extremely protective. So I do think it's kind of a cool thing that if you do have the skills to create your own, why not do that so that you can pass it down to your family? I think that's a cool idea. And that was a video idea of mine for the Swan Song Manifesto. And it was supposed to be meant to be used as a magical symbol for protection of your family. But anyway, during my research, I did find out something that I thought was kind of interesting. So I'm going to read this really quick to you guys. It says, Americans who can prove a direct, legitimate descendant from a subject of the British Crown during a period of British rule, such as Americans with ancestors in America when it was still a British colony. That's the pre-Revolutionary War. You can petition the College of Arms for an honorary arms that will be granted to one person. That person then has the right to pass down the arms to the legitimate male line of their family. This rule of legitimate male line descent is why some people with the same surname have the legal right to use a coat of arms in the UK and others with the same surname do not. Last week's synchronistic symbol was the purple dragonfly. This week's synchronistic symbol is the crow, and you can see the crow in many different ways. You can actually see a real crow, or you can see it as a stuffed animal. You can see it on a print on garments, housewares, whatever. Hopefully you'll see it this week, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll be back with another episode next week. Take care. Bye-bye.